Parks panel at D23 this weekend has answered some ongoing questions around the park. Great moments with Mr. Lincoln, the Avengers e-ticket, and more. But that's not all we have for you this week, as the Haunted Mansion queue is starting to come into focus, as is Tiana's Bayou adventure. We even got a date. So, let's go to Town Square and get things started. We have been following this situation, the closure of the Main Street Opera House and the show, The Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. We've been watching with great interest because there was a rumor going around that the reason why this thing has been closed for so long was because they were planning to install some sort of Walt Disney animatronic. They were going to add him to the show. That was the rumor. That rumor is now confirmed. They are, in fact, building a Walt Disney animatronic, a show to go with Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. It's going to alternate. It's going to, one episode or one showtime will be Lincoln, and then the next showtime will be Walt, and then they'll keep going back and forth. That was confirmed at D23 Saturday night.
Announced that we are creating a new show for the Main Street Opera House, and we're calling it Walt Disney, A Magical Life.
Wow. We're gonna add it. Okay.
It'll feature, for the first time, an audio animatronic figure of Walt.
Yes!
We're advancing the technology that he pioneered 60 years ago with Abraham Lincoln. This new show will bring together the past, the present, and the future of Disney storytelling. And importantly, after its debut run, A Magical Life will play in rotation with our fan favorite Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Standing here right now in front of the Opera House doing this little, getting this B-roll for the Walt Disney animatronic here at the Opera House. It's the morning after the Parks panel last night. Its rope drop just happened, and I'm already feeling emotional about the prospect of that happening, of Walt showing up on a marquee poster out there, on a marquee out here, inside that room. I couldn't have asked for a better result when it comes to Disneyland right now, and I'm just really, really happy and really proud that Disney did this. I just feel like I wanted to say that on camera right now because it just means a lot, man. It's just they did it. They actually did it, and it's quite a big deal in my opinion because it goes towards a change in Disney's approach to Walt and whether or not they wanted to have him, more Walt or less Walt in the parks. The people have spoken. I mean, this is not something that they just came up with out of the air, but they were wondering, I think, if they should or should not. They should, and they did. So we're getting a Walt Disney animatronic at the Main Street Opera House, and it's very, very exciting. So far, all we have is this concept art that was shown at D23 at the Parks panel. Walt in his office, with the map of Disneyland in the background there, and later on they played Feed the Birds from Mary Poppins, and I'm assuming that that's going to get played. That'll be part of the show at the Main Street Opera House. Very exciting time, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to, this is where I get really excited. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to see a marquee poster out here in front of the Opera House announcing, celebrating the arrival of a Walt Disney show here. Maybe a poster here with Frederick Douglass on one side and Walt Disney on the other. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really excited about this. So now all we have to do is wait and find out when that'll be happening. We still don't have a reopening date. The calendar still doesn't see far enough into the future for us to know. So we're just going to have to stand by and wait. But at least now we can do so with some level of anticipation and wonder just how good this show is going to be. I can't think of a better way for Disney to open the park to guests, as in, revealing Disneyland to you, Town Square, Main Street, and all of that, than to have Walt Disney right there at the Main Street Opera House when you enter. It's going to become a part of many guests' daily visit, and I could not be more happy about that. We'll stay on the topic of announcements made at D23. We've all been waiting now for a very long time for anything substantial to happen with the Avengers e-ticket that's supposed to be built, on the other side of the Avengers headquarters backstage there. We knew they kept giving us concept art and promising things, but never really made any sort of advancement. But we're now definitely past the blue sky stage. They've committed to a ride mechanism. They've committed to a story. And again, that was announced last night on Saturday at the Parks panel. What's interesting, for those wondering, right back there in that space backstage, somewhere in that space is just going to be the most enormous building, show building. Whatever they can fit inside that space, that will be the show building for the Avengers e-ticket. I expect to see some sort of visible movement backstage in short order. I don't think it'll be long before we start seeing them move things around, kind of like how things started with Galaxy's Edge when we started, filming things from the top of the Mickey and Friends parking structure. The first time we went up there, everything looked very, very normal. And then one week there was one little thing missing, and the next week this building got torn down or that building got torn down. This process, the process of preparing the space for construction, takes quite a while. It's actually the longest, sort of most boring part of the whole process, but I do think that it won't be long before we start seeing that kind of activity. So expect a few trips on the Pixar Pal Around in the near future to get more footage of that and just to watch the progress of things. It's going to be very exciting. I can't wait to see how this goes. We've watched them build Avengers Campus from the Pixar Pal Around in the past, and we're going to get to watch some more. This is very, very exciting. What we were not expecting, and something that I'm even more curious about, and it's something that we're going to get into in a separate video on Fresh Baked Presents, our news channel. We're going to do this from the desk, but they announced another attraction.
Infinity Defense Now. Technology to jump between worlds is missing. Havoc wrecking detected. Recruits needed in Asgard, Wakanda, and more to defeat Thanos.
Wait, you said doubling? What else is coming?
Stark Flight Lab coming soon. New flight equipment is in need of testing at Tony Stark's workshop.
A second new attraction, a fourth attraction for Avengers Campus, the Stark Flight Lab. Now this one I don't think is going to be an e-ticket or anything like that. It looks more like a kid's spinner type ride. But the question is where are they going to put this? That's something that we're going to be looking for. My gut instinct is that this could be part of the reason why they canceled Doctor Strange. Because I think that could be, just looking at the concept art, the new concept art, I think they're going to put it in that space. Right where that ride vehicle is coming through the portal. That's the way this concept art is drawn looks different than the way it used to look. So we're going to have to pay attention to that and see, but that's my first guess. There was another attraction announced Saturday night. It was the first attraction, formal attraction for the Avatar experience. They're still refusing to call it a land. The Avatar experience, we're going to get a boat ride. Where that's going to land, we don't know. There's also going to be a Coco attraction, also a boat ride. We also don't know exactly where that's going to go. Stay tuned, though, again, to Fresh Baked Presents. Watch out for a video. I'm not sure how quickly I can get that done because it's going to be a lot of studying and a lot of analysis. But look for that on Fresh Baked Presents. There's a link in the description if you haven't already subscribed to that channel. Link in the description for that one. And then stay tuned. Oh, and by the way, there's also a new story for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. We're going to have alternate stories now. It's going to be a Mandalorian-themed story. There's no construction to update on that, so I'm not sure how much we're going to be talking about that, but we're just going to put that in there for now and then expand on that further in a separate video. With that, let's get back into the park. Let's talk about what I found on this Sunday morning, the day after D23. We're in the Esplanade, and I have to say I felt a little bit of relief that that Mobile The Pixar Fest mobile is gone. They've got some walls up out there. I like, by the way, this new blue. Can we talk about that? We haven't seen blue on these construction walls. They're usually like that weird green, that kind of like that go away green, although it's not exactly. I like the blue. I'm just saying. Happy that's gone. And, we're going to get our usual Esplanade out there here in short order. The walls are still up out in front of the gates. It's going to be like this for a little while they do whatever it is that they're doing below grade there in the dirt outside the main entrance. Walking into the park, I spotted this last week but forgot to include it in the construction update. This little 2-wall section popped up out here in front of the Mickey, floral Mickey. I have no idea what this is. It's probably nothing, but it's there. We'll follow that. We're here now in Town Square, and yeah, so last week Disneyland Railroad was open. This week it is not. We are going to be closed for, as I understand it, about 3 months. The doors are shut. Nobody's allowed on the train. They even took out the Pixar Fest pizza truck. Everything is empty here. This is going to be closed for about 3 months to replace the track. They're going to do it in 4 separate 3-month installments over the course of a few years. So it'll be closed for about 3 months, and then it'll open back up again, and then they'll leave it open for 9 months, and then take it down again and do another section of the track. Four sections, 3 months each. Also no longer here at Town Square is that other Pixar Fest monstrosity. They replaced it with this D23 day at Disneyland. This is much nicer. I really enjoy this, actually. I like this because it's Small World and it's very classic. By the time you see this, though, it'll be gone. This is probably the last day that you'll find that sign there. So tomorrow we'll have a nice clean look at Main Street as you walk through Town Square. It's going to be like that for just a little while because, let's see, Halloween season starts in less than 2 weeks as I record this. It starts on August 23rd. So it could be just a week or so before we see the Mickey Pumpkin on Town Square. Speaking of ride closures, Space Mountain is closed also, closed on the 5th. It is completely vacant and barren, and it's kind of sad what it does to the to the energy and the environment surrounding Tomorrowland in general. We know that's going to be reopening on September 5th, so it's not going to be terribly long, about a month. These walls are up and everything down here on the ground, but I don't expect that they'll be doing any kind of updates on the ground. These are just to give people sort of a visual clue that the attraction is closed. All the updates are happening inside, and most all of them, I believe, are with the lighting and things of that nature, including, as we mentioned in previous episodes, the blue lights in the tunnel, that initial launch tunnel, which is very exciting. I hope anyway, because I want to get let down. I thought they were going to fix that on the last update, which they did not. But I'm going to try to stay optimistic and hope that is in fact what's happening here. But Space Mountain closed until September 5th. So now let's get on the Mark Twain and see what we can see. We only have half a show now these days because they've opened up the attraction. We can only see half as much as we used to from the Mark Twain. So what we're looking at here obviously is that section between Tiana's Palace and the new queue that they're building. So we're trying to see if we can find anything out here that'll give us some definition as to what they're doing in that space. Although there's actually nothing really vertically happening in that space, in that little common area between Tiana's and the Haunted Mansion. It's just going to be, flooring with tables. It's going to be an outdoor table seating. Well, I should say an outdoor dining area, but it doesn't have to be dining. It's just tables and chairs per the concept art. What we're going to be able to see them do is build the actual queue, the extended queue for Haunted Mansion, which is going to be happening in our next shot. Actually, not our next shot. Our next shot is looking at the space here between Tiana's Bayou Adventure and the Haunted Mansion, where they're building the gift shop. It's actually to the left of this. That's the left half of this frame as we watch this now. There we go. Let's get straightened out. They're going to be building it behind those green walls. And you can see some 2x4s being erected there. So it could be, I thought they might be just dropping this thing in whole, built, But they could be building this from scratch. They could be. Although I would expect some forms here, and I'm not really seeing forms, just those wooden 2x4s, so I could be mistaken, but we'll see. We're going to keep an eye on this. That's about where that new gift shop will be. Now, let's see what we can find in the expanded queue for the Haunted Mansion. Everything behind that green wall, in the front of the frame there, the bottom, and then also the reverse side, the wood side of that wall. That's all new extended queue. That's that space. And last week I was a little bit confused about the orientation of the concrete walls that we were seeing them build. And there you can see right there in the middle of the frame right now, those white walls. You can see there's even a little, actually let's stop here. You can see 2 pillars being erected. It doesn't exactly match the concept art, but I'm going to assume that that's these, I believe that's these walls right here. And as we start to drift further to the right, you can see a new wall, another cinder block wall forming there. That, I believe, is going to form the outer definition of this new queue space. And then behind that, in the sunlight, is that rear wall, the back wall. That was where I was having trouble last week trying to figure out what the orientation was for that. But it does appear to be now that wall there is the rear wall in the concept art. Again, it's still difficult because I don't think it's matching exactly with the concept art. So as more trips happen, we will be able to apply a little bit more definition and a little bit more certainty. We can be a little bit more certain about one thing. We got this shot from the Fresh Baked Street team. Somebody took an over-the-wall shot. Where this is being taken, this shot is actually being taken as the guest makes that right turn and heads to the rear queue. It's currently blocked off. There's a wall up there right now, so he just kind of popped his head or his camera over the wall there. But that's the view that we're getting. So what you're looking at here, right where that brick wall is in the middle of the frame, the one that is running, lengthwise across the picture, that's right about where the fountain would be. At the very left of that frame is right about where the fountain used to be. And there you can see also the Disneyland Railroad station in the back. That's giving you a little more context. We are in Magnolia Garden. We are in that space right now where those walls are and all that dirt is. This picture, by the way, is about, I want to say this is maybe a week at least, a week old. So that's kind of a fascinating look at where things stand. It's a very good sign, by the way, that we are definitely advancing quickly forward in this part of the queue. Now, what I'm going to show you next is going to blow your mind a little bit. You guys have heard me talk about how there's a big hole, pool-sized hole in the back. I haven't never seen it. Nobody's ever has, but I've just heard through or inferred through reference what's happening back there because I assume that would be the case because you have to dig a big hole in order to put an elevator in there or in order to get at the space. Look at this. Here's another over-the-wall shot. That is the rear queue. What you're looking at here, and he goes kind of quick, so we have to slow it down. What we're looking at here, that's the rear queue. That's all the switchbacks and everything, and the berm, and the tombstones and all that. That's where we are. Ground level is where the top of that concrete is. And where those 2x4s back there, that's that fall protection that we've been seeing from the Mark Twain. We're like, oh, there's the fall protection. That's going to, we've been seeing that for months. And this is what it's protecting you from. This giant, enormous, Olympic-sized swimming pool that they've dug up in the rear queue. And there you can see all that vertical rebar and that black, whatever that substance is, or the black wall that's in that rear queue that we were talking about last week. When it comes to the conversation of why is this taking so long, it's because they've had to build or dig out something this cavernous back here. So that gives you some idea of the scale of how much is going on behind the scenes. It's a really incredible shot. And hopefully it gives folks some perspective. And this is what we've all been waiting for. We've been waiting. The whole thing is waiting for this to finish. So it looks like they are getting somewhere on that. I don't know exactly yet what this means in terms of, proximity to completion. But this is why I'm thinking it's still going to be a few months. Why it could be January, because, I mean, how done is that? Construction pros out there, you see this, and you know that the idea is to build an elevator and a break room and all that. How long? How long do you think before this is done? And I'll end by giving us a little more context. If you look, there's the berm in the top left corner. There's the berm is still there. A wall is up to kind of obscure that berm. And then to the right, that's the mansion right there. To give you a little bit more context, a little bit more idea of where we're at scale-wise. Berm on the left, in the top third. Haunted mansion, the corner of the haunted mansion in the top right of that frame. Neat, right? So that's where we're at with the queue. And then before we run out of time and run out of space, we're going to try to put the camera back again where the gift shop is. We're trying to look through the Columbia right now and over those walls. And that's the space where we're looking for them to build the gift shop. It's just through that tree. You can see those 2x4s up there that have been erected. I'm still not sure if they're building this thing from scratch or not, but we'll see. But the white structures you see behind there, that's the crypt exit on the left of frame there. And so the structure, the gift shop would be built right about here. Like if you were to go through that lamppost in the middle of the frame that's between those trees. On the other side of that is where the gift shop will be. Okay, time for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The first thing we're going to look for here is to see if there's anything happening at the top of the drop. And the answer is no, nothing that we can see anyway. I have it on reasonably good authority that there are bottles up there. We just can't see them. They are at that point in the development of this attraction. They are far enough along where they're adding that kind of theming to the attraction, but they're much further than that actually. They're actually to the point where we have a date. At D23, they announced November 15th, which is later than we had hoped. I thought it might be September or October, but if you follow us on Twitter, you would have seen that I had posted that they're trying to learn from the mistakes that are happening at Magic Kingdom, at Walt Disney World. Tiana's has been closed for a few days now. Closed completely, because they just can't get the thing to run consistently and reliably. And I think that, so that November 15th opening it's about 2 months later than I had thought or I had estimated. And we're hoping still that even becomes a thing. It's possible that we may not hit November 15th, but it's only because they want to make sure that it's operating and that they don't have the same problems that they are having at Magic Kingdom. They rushed the Magic Kingdom opening a little bit, as they often do, and we're hoping that they have learned from that mistake. So November 15th, put it on your calendars. The first trial opening date for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We'll keep going to see how the queue is looking and how Critter Country is looking, or Bayou Country. By the way, if you saw the announcement, they didn't really talk about it, but in the concept art that they showed when announcing the date of November 15th, if you look at the bottom of that image, in that art, it says Bayou Country. Are they changing the name of Critter Country to Bayou Country? If so, that would be the only thing that changes in that regard besides Tiana's. The rest of Critter Country is still going to have the same, Winnie the Pooh is still going to be there, the Hungry Bear is still going to be there, Pooh Corner and all that, just with a new name for that space, which is not the first time they've done this. It used to be called Bear Country, and then it was Critter Country, and I guess now it'll be Bayou Country. And for those who are asking, the 100-acre wood, fictional place. Not a real place, even though it's supposed to be. I think it was inspired by some place in England, which also is not, in the bayou. But the 100-acre wood could literally be anywhere. Critter Country could be anywhere in the world. Let's get back to what we see. The polls that we've been paying attention to for the past few weeks are starting to take shape. They've got a little bit more definition. They've added something else at the bottom half of that. But the key thing to note is that on some of those polls, you can now see light fixtures. So that answers that. Now, what more they could put here is up for debate, but we know that they're at least that. They are light fixtures, and there's still an opportunity for them to add speakers for a radio broadcast, and there's still an opportunity for them to add some sort of awning or covering to cover this queue. But we know this much at least. They will also provide light for that queue, and I'm really looking forward to that. I love lighting fixtures. I love lighting features in queues and things like that. I think it really adds to the beauty of a space, obviously, especially at night. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that looks, when it's fully operational. Otherwise, we can see that they're still in the same sort of state of things. I mean, there's more concrete down, and it looks like they are still working on building those planters type spaces surrounded by the boulders, etc. You can see, by the way, there's the tree that we saw them bringing in last week. That tree it's still in its planter, so they haven't installed it completely yet, but there you go. There's that tree. That I'm assuming its final place will be somewhere in that vicinity. But there's a lot of equipment, a lot of things happening down there, so it's difficult to see exactly what it is that they're working on. And we can't see anything from the Disneyland Railroad either, because the Disneyland Railroad is closed. They have put up, there you go, scaffolding out in front of the Briar Patch. So they're getting ready to do something on the Briar Patch as well. They're getting ready to possibly refurbish its exterior. So that's pretty interesting. I was not expecting that. Look at this. The Hungry Bear, they took the scrim down. It's all completely gone. That's not because they're done. Obviously they're not. You can see they've stripped all the tables have been removed from the upper deck. All the tables are gone, and the chairs. Everything has been stripped down there. But I'm curious why they did that. I would think that they'd want to keep that covered unless they had some other reason. I don't know. They're not done. I don't know. And by the way, you can see that all those tables and chairs have been displaced. They're all downstairs in the lower section. And then as we drift further to the right, you'll see that they're also stacked in the very far back of that queue. But I'm really curious to see or know, why they opened that up again. I mean, I'm grateful because it gives us a nice look at what they're doing. And so obviously they're going to be refinishing those tables, I'm assuming, or something to that effect. That's why they took them out. Yeah, there we go. There's the tables and chairs stacked up there in the rear part of the queue. And then if we look left, they've also taken down the scrim and scaffolding over the top of the roof structure there. Are they done with whatever it is that they were doing up there? That little steeple at the very top, that was behind scrim before. And it could be that they are finished with it. They maybe have just added, like exhaust for the kitchen, for the new kitchen, for a new grill perhaps, or something to that effect. So that is Tianas from the Mark Twain. Let's get back down the ground. I wanted to peek over the wall real quick at the Disneyland Railroad Station at New Orleans Square, just to see if I could get my eyes on anything. And we can see a lot of cinder blocks back there. There's that wall again. Now that wall is not going to stay that way. Obviously, they're going to apply some brick veneers, or either brick veneers or maybe like a stucco type surface there. See if we can find anything on the ground at Tiana's, but nothing to speak of out here. Trying again also to see if I can see anything at the top of the drop, but no, it's just darkness. So let's get on the monorail. Head to downtown Disney. This week I did go ahead and film this part of things, and it looks pretty well. I mean, they've come a long way. But this will probably be, we got about another month before they close the monorail, and they're going to be working on stuff back here that's going to approach too closely to the track. There you go. That's the Parkside Market. Here again is the Parkside Market from the ground. Scrim and scaffold. Same thing for the retail building, the Best Buy back there. It's not a real Best Buy. That's something that I've just been calling it. I haven't called it that for a while, but it's the retail building. I did, though, find in between Din Tai Fung and the old ESPN zone, that's the bag check. A frame has been erected because they totally demoed the bag check that was there before. So it looks like they're getting ready to rebuild that. They're putting in a new bag check. They still have not done anything for the bag check over here at the downtown Disney parking lot entrance next to what is now Earl's. There's supposed to be a whole new mid-century modern themed entrance being built there, but for now all we have is Earl's sandwich, and maybe they're waiting for the Earl. I don't know. That's going to be a while. But the Earl's sandwich is again, it's operational. It was very early on this morning, so I wasn't expecting to find anybody here. This is like 9:15 a.m., maybe 9:30 a.m. Checking next on the fountain in between Splitsville and what was Tortilla Joe's. There's not a lot of progress here either in terms of the demo. I mean, it doesn't look great. It looks, ignored and sort of it's becoming a ghost of what it once was. But still, no, the tables are still out there. They haven't really demoed anything. We could even walk to the rear area. This is where the outdoor tables were on the other side of that hedge with the palm trees. Everything is still there. The tables are still there. The little bar that they built is still there. So I'm not sure, maybe they're waiting for them to finish the fountain before they start working on this, or whatever it is that they're doing at the fountain, which, by the way, that's the current state. They've put in new concrete, but in the middle of that area, is that a water feature? Are they going to put in a different fountain? That would surprise me if they did that, actually. That would surprise me. I guess maybe they just felt like the other one was falling apart, so they're going to build a new one. And I'm having the worst luck with the monorail these past few weeks. I rode the monorail into downtown Disney, got a little B-roll, shot what I was shooting here, tried to get back on the monorail, and like, no, you can't come in. So in a matter of about, 10 or 15 minutes, it shut down. And now I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back on there again today. Let's get back at the park. We've got a few more odds and ends. The construction walls that were at the Fantasyland Theater, they have moved from the left side to the right side. They have shifted. The walls have shifted to the other side towards Toontown entrance, and they have finished whatever it is that they're doing here, which obviously looks like, just like a regular blacktop. It's nothing fancy. It's actually it was kind of meh. You know what I mean? I don't know what purpose they had for replacing that concrete, but I don't feel like, or that pavement, I don't feel like it's an improvement over what was there before. Walls are extended all the way up to the Fantasyland Theater. There's all the new blacktop down there. And they are still trying to strike the set for the Pixar Fest playtime area. I forget what they call it, but it's in a sort of, I don't know, they haven't gotten very far. You can see where they've broken some stuff down, but they've got a ways to go here to finish striking that set. No news on what, if anything, is happening at the Fantasyland Theater. Also, while we're here, we noted at Toontown Station that there's a scrim up at the train station for the Disneyland Railroad, which suggests to me that this particular section of the track is where they're going to be working. They're going to be working on the section that probably runs, I don't know, from the backside of Frontierland, maybe, where you run by Big Thunder and then through Toontown and Small World. I'm guessing. So wherever you see scrim is probably the part of the track they'll be replacing. And that, Fresh Baked, is our construction update this week. What an exciting time to be talking about Disneyland. Guys, I have not felt this energized about, or this positive about what's happening in the Disney parks. And not just this park, obviously, but other parks around the country, or at Disney World and overseas as well. But even things happening here at Disneyland. And we're going to talk more about that in that video that I promised. I still haven't, I got to do a lot of research still because I want to inform as much as possible. So as I mentioned before, go follow us on Fresh Baked Presents. There's a link in the description. Stand by. I don't do a lot of videos on that channel, but that's where this one is going. And we're going to cover all the announcements made at D23 and give you as much info as we can possibly learn on that topic. And otherwise, if you like this show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. You can follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E. And then join our newsletter, which is something new. We're now on, issue 3, I think. Subscribe to our newsletter, it's free. And it's just more helpful information on going to Disneyland. There's a link for that also in the description. Until next time, guys, we love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Bite.